Are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle being needlessly cruel when it comes to King Charles and the rest of the royal family by keeping their kids away and basically emotionally blackmailing King Charles? I mean, looking at Prince Harry's interview with the BBC, I mean, there's so many interesting nuggets. We've done a couple of videos examining it. But what has been truly, I think, unbelievably apparent to anybody who is watching this situation is that Harry and Meghan are not the purveyors of warmth and joy and everything like they claim to be. They're actually cruel, heartless, and really trying to emotionally blackmail the royal family over an issue they have absolutely no control over whatsoever. In this case, security issues. It is awful what the two of them are doing. And I think at the same time, what it comes from is not necessarily really security. But what we saw yesterday is a royal family that is thriving without Harry. And I think for him, that is the biggest stab in the back because he wants them to be salivating over the idea of him returning when in fact they have simply moved on. But Harry is going to try to screw the knife in even harder because he is going to do everything he can to try to get his way, even if it means using his children against his father. So, guys, we are going to explore this sort of, you could say, complex topic today. But if you haven't been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany. I provide compelling royal commentary, so please hit the subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you back. We also have an upcoming trip to the south of France for those who enjoy talking about royals in person. We actually only have 6 spots left. So the trip is coming up. It's September 25th through the 30th. So if you have any interest in that, there's like so many friendships. People still keep chatting. There's like group text chains and everything for people. So if you guys really want to get to know somebody on these trips, it's an amazing opportunity to develop some royally inclined friends. So, guys, feel free to hit that subscribe button. We will be going to Monaco, Provence, Nice. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So, feel free to check out that link up above there. We would love to have you join us. So, like I said, we are going to be talking a little bit about the Royals and VE Day, but there's also been some other Royals who have been doing things as well. We had Remembrance Day in the Netherlands on May 4th. So you may think of May the 4th be with you, but in the Netherlands, it's May 4th is a Remembrance Day. I was actually there in the Netherlands for it in 2017, completely by chance. So it was great to see them do this for the 80th anniversary. And then the next day, they do sort of a concert celebrating the liberation. So King Willem Alexander and Queen Maxima did both of those events. I'm sort of surprised Amalia didn't join them. I feel like for such a big events, this would be good for Amalia to attend as well, but we did not see her this time. We have King Frederick and Queen Mary of Denmark who are officially relocating to Fredensborg Castle, which I've actually been to up in the north of Denmark. And they're going to be there for the summer. So there was a welcoming ceremony for them. And the press also saw Princess Isabella very briefly arrive and depart. So apparently they were playing musical cars like other people around the world. I don't know if you are familiar with the game I like to call musical cars, where you're kind of switching out cars between family members. So she apparently arrived in one car and then very quickly departed in another car. So apparently the family needed that particular car. So she had to play a bit of musical cars there. So anyways, I just thought that was really exciting to hear about Isabella, that she has her driver's license now that she is 18. And King Charles and Queen Camilla have unveiled new portraits commemorating their coronation. So I was actually at the coronation 2 years ago. Wasn't my favorite day, although I did get some cool pictures, not as many as I wanted to. I got a little too close to the gate, but I actually like both portraits, although I think Camilla's is a little better. We also have the start of the Icelandic state visit to Sweden. So Iceland has been to, I believe, Denmark, Norway, now finishing up in Sweden. Usually the new presidents of Iceland and Finland do a tour of the Scandinavian royal countries. And the reason for that is that there's a very strong tie between what they call the Nordic countries. So that is Iceland, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. So even when King Carl Gustaf has his golden jubilee, actually the presidents of Iceland and Finland actually came out on the balcony with the rest of the royals from Denmark and Norway and Sweden. So it's sort of interesting that they have, I mean, it's not a surprise that they have such close ties historically and everything. So we will see that. Hopefully, tiaras this evening, I'm sure. So, very, very exciting there as well. And of course, yesterday was VE Day, and we saw the Royals, the Waleses especially, come out in force to celebrate the veterans. So, we saw all three kids, which was absolutely fantastic to see George, Charlotte, and Louis. I sort of always figured they would be there. I guess there was not a confirmation, but I thought this was an event they could definitely attend, and they seemed to enjoy it. There was a little bit of brotherly ribbing between George and Louis, where Louis sort of made fun of his brother's little, flipping his hair back, which I thought was really funny because I can so see Louis as a little brother, especially once his older brother becomes a teenager and he's still in that child stage, really making fun of George's increased heartthrob status. I'm sure Louis will endlessly rib his brother about that. So I just found that really, really quite sweet. There looks like all the parents and adults as well had great conversations with the veterans placed strategically around them. So Catherine was next to a veteran, so was King Charles and Camilla, Sophie and Edward, Anne. And so it looks like they had a great chat as they waited for the parade to come by and then the fly passed overhead. So very, very exciting. And I really wanted to be there, but just the timing didn't quite work out, which is sad because this is going to be one of the last big anniversaries. They might do something for 85 if there was a smattering of veterans still alive. But I think by that point, I don't know how many veterans we will have left. And I think that's terribly tragic because we do need their stories to remind us. Because us in our modern age, we don't have the concept of a world war. We have no clue what that looks like. And obviously, war has changed so much since then. But, the further something gets away from your memory, the more likely the mistakes of the past you are to repeat. So I do think their recollections, especially when it comes to the Holocaust and everything, are so incredibly important because there's so many people who are anxious and interested in rewriting history to suit their own agenda. And I guess that leads us very well into Prince Harry and Meghan, because I think Harry and Meghan are two unbelievably cruel people. Now, I know some people are like, oh, Brittany, that's a little bit excessive because I try to use very, you could say, tempered language when it comes to the two of them. But when I look at how, especially they treat Charles, it just seems cruel and heartless. And I know some people try to defend them as, oh, they're just removing toxic people from their lives. And I'm like, but I see the royals, and the royals seem good. Now, I love this picture here. It is of William, Catherine, George, and Camilla, and it looks like they're having a lovely little conversation. Why is that so important? I actually did a whole post on X about it during the coronation a couple of years ago, and I got a huge response. And the reason that I love this picture is that it goes to show what true reconciliation looks like. Because William could hold a massive grudge against Camilla. William knew probably more than anyone else what Diana went through. Harry has, I think, this very media driven view of his mother, whereas William was very much her friend and I think saw Diana for the true Diana. He saw her faults, he saw her gifts, and he saw this horrible aspect of the relationship that his mother had with his father that involved Camilla. Camilla was heavily involved in that in so many ways. And William, to his absolute credit, has seemed to move on. So does that mean he forgets? No. Does that mean he's like probably super close to Camilla? No. But what he has done is accept that she is in his life, understand that this is a woman that his father loves, and has figured out how, even though there is hurt attached to it, how to move on and have a good relationship so that his children can have a good relationship with her, that his father can have a good relationship with his children as well, that his wife can. Like, I don't think William is somebody there. If Catherine, let's say, went to a tea with Camilla, I don't think William would punish Catherine because, oh, she was hanging out with his father's paramour way back in the 1990s. This is sort of ancient history at this point. Charles and Camilla have been married for 20 years. Actually, most of both Harry and William's life at this point, Charles has been with Camilla. And so to see this reconciliation, to see how they've managed to get past the hurt into a good relationship so that everybody can be, I mean, for lack of a better word, happy. They have a warm relationship. They're not there like going, oh, I gotta hang out with this person. They're so horrible and blah, blah, blah. They're like, well, you know what? I still don't like what you and my dad did, but I can sort of get past it now. And I want my children to be able to visit somebody without this bitterness attached to it. Now, again, does that mean Camilla's like babysitting the whales as kids? No. I mean, I was reading James Middleton's book. I need to finish it so I can do sort of more a whole synopsis about it. But he basically said at one point that Catherine and William, even though James's parents were away, were staying at the Buckleberry house. So Catherine and William spend a lot of time with the Middletons. William is immensely close to them. But that doesn't mean he's needlessly cruel to Camilla, I think. I think they all have an understanding of their complex dynamic, but still have a healthy, functioning relationship. And then you see Harry. You see Harry, this whiny, bitter, angry, bratty, tantrum throwing 40-year-old man who seems to not understand that decision A can result in decision B. Cause and effect seems to be, and I've said this actually several times, seems to be an absolute mystery to Harry and Meghan, which does not look good on them. That you seem to not understand that if you make a decision to leave the royal family, the working royal fold, that nobody is really interested in paying for your security anymore. And nobody's interested in paying for it just because you claim the status of prince. There's a lot of people out there, Prince Harry, who have royal titles who do not have full-time security. That even includes members of your family. And what you see throughout that interview, we won't go over it because I have 2 or 3 videos at this point going over that interview, is that Harry constantly harps on this idea that his father doesn't want his family to be safe and that he won't bring his kids to the UK because it's unsafe. He'll take them to Costa Rica. He'll, keep them in California, where California, there's aspects of it are safe. I mean, Montecito by and large is very safe, but there's aspects of LA that are not safe in the slightest. Like even this was many years ago now, 10 plus years ago. My sister was going to a university in Southern California, and me and my dad were driving somewhere, and I really had to go to the bathroom. And we were on the freeway, and I was like, can we stop? And he's like, no. It was like, no, absolutely not. You got to hold it until we get to our destination, because it was in, I think, around the Compton area. So there are areas of LA that are very dangerous to be in. I mean, I almost got mugged in LA. One of the last times I was there, I'm pretty sure I almost got mugged right in front of my hotel. I mean, I was technically near the airport, so not the best area. And I had decided to walk back to my hotel from the car rental area because I didn't want to take the bus and go to the airport. And then, it was a whole thing. Or to pay $20 for an Uber ride when I could walk there in 15 minutes. Kind of dumb, but yeah, it was almost. There was a woman who I walked past, turned around, and started following me into following me towards the hotel. Thankfully, I was close enough, nothing happened. But Harry and Meghan seem to constantly harp in this idea that Charles doesn't want to keep them safe. And that's not true. Charles, of course, wants them to be safe. It's horrifically awful of Harry as a son to put that message out there. But why is it his father's burden to do that? Because Harry is a grown man in his 40s now. He's supposedly made hundreds of millions of dollars, or at least tens of millions of dollars. I mean, why can't he hire security? Celebrities who visit the UK, and they are big name celebrities. If they want security, they have to hire their own. Nobody's going to the state, or least of all, going to government officials and whining about it. And the simple fact is, Charles can't intervene because it would cause a constitutional crisis. It would cause a constitutional crisis for Charles to intervene, because he's basically pressuring the government to give security to his son that is not a supporter of the state. Basically, he does nothing for the state at this point. Harry is a private citizen. I don't care what title he has. He is a private citizen at this point. He's basically a glorified celebrity with a royal title. That is it. And it would draw the ire of the public towards the monarchy. And Charles has to think, I just can't do that. And it's not that he doesn't want to keep him safe. It's just like, the government has made this decision here, and you might not like it, but that's not my problem. You decide to leave. Everybody told Harry, if you make this decision, this is going to be the outcome. And Harry, in his arrogance, bratty arrogance and hubris, thought for some reason that they were bluffing, I guess. Because when they finally did the thing they said they were going to do, which is pull his security, he's telling them all, well, you did it because you don't like me, you don't like my wife, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When again, that's just simply not the case. That's not the case in this situation. And so Harry just looks, I think, horribly cruel to claim that his father doesn't want to keep him safe and to claim that, oh, now he can't bring his kids to the UK, which again, that isn't the case. And the cruelty gets worse because Meghan Markle has continued this cruel barbing on Instagram too. Of course, they released this picture where Harry is literally turning his back on his family. Now, I know some people want to examine all the angles and everything of it. I don't really care. The message here is that I have my kids and I'm turning my back on you, father, because of something you can't actually help me with. Charles cannot help him here. He's not even in the way. Like, what is he supposed to do? Remove the royals from Ravik? Like royal representation from Ravik, which in its name contains the word royal. It's like an acronym. It has like royal and VIP and something, something. And that's what it's like designed to do. Is he just supposed to do that just because, oh, Harry, oh, he can't bring the kids? I mean, it sounds so paranoid and terrible. But then you have this cold, calculating, sort of heartless image here where it's just a man who's turned his back on his father, the man who gave him everything, because he simply, and this isn't the case for Harry, can't seem to grasp the concept that if he made a particular choice, there might not be a back button. I think Tina Brown, Dan Wooten, was telling me this when I was talking to him yesterday, was that the crux of Harry's issue seems to be all related to the decision of Megxit, which I think is so stupid because Harry, nobody forced you to do that. Nobody forced you into Megxit. You decide that yourself. Maybe your wife did. So take it up with her, not the rest of the world. And he seems to have all these issues connected to it. When in reality, this is just something where if you had made a different choice, yeah, maybe your life would be better. And I think some aspects of this are because his life is so miserable now. He has no relationship with his family. His father won't speak to him. His brother won't speak to him. I mean, they won't even take his calls or emails or texts or whatever. They all go unread, and he's probably blocked from most of them. He talks to maybe a couple of members of his family, but probably not very seriously. They're probably very shallow conversations. He has a couple of friends, but most of them I imagine are more the hangers on who are just in it for the clout and not really probably all that close to him because he had to cut off anybody who didn't like Meghan. And his true friends didn't like her. And that wasn't because of the color of her skin or whatever, or that she was an American. It's because they saw aspects of her personality that they did not like. And they did not like her with Harry. So they were just trying to help him. And then Harry, again, turns his back. This is a clear image of a guy who's turning his back on his family for the shallow vein and vapidness of the world Meghan Markle has created for them. And he lives in this misery because there's no purpose to his life anymore. He has left purpose. His family has moved on, and I think that hurts him deeply. He believes and has all this paranoia about life that is simply, I think, feeding this unquenchable beast in him that is just making everything into a conspiracy when it's really just, again, cause and effect, Harry. That's a basic concept. If you make decision A in a job, your company might make decision B in your job. And sometimes that means you get fired. And in Harry's case, it means he lost all his benefits. And he needs to stop blaming his father. It's all his fault. And I think in some ways he does know this. It's his wife's fault. It's his fault. But he can't change any of this because this is the world she wants. This is everything she wants. And he's stuck, I think, in this miserable relationship and marriage. And he sort of wants out, but he can't get out. He sort of regrets the decision, but he can't leave the decision. He claims to want to serve the British public or that he's still serving it when everything now is simply about a paycheck. Nobody believes the man anymore when it comes to any of this because everything is about the transactionalness of it. And his wife is looking and trying to move on, and he's not that helpful anymore. So this is the image we get. And then we get another cruelty from Meghan Markle. And this is a picture of Archie looking like He's in pajamas somewhere. And of course, they went somewhere. This might be in California, but what if it's in a tropical locale? Like they went to the Caribbean. The country might have issues, but of course, can't go to the UK. And Meghan goes, our son, which is unbelievably stupid. And we know he's not your quote unquote son, as in the sun in the sky, because you talk about Lily all the time. Although I guess his head is around the sun. But why is he looking directly into the sun? That's not a good idea. Either way, it's kind of dumb. We all know she only cares about Lilibet. And so, or Lilibet, I guess, as they call her. It's like, why just name her Lily for Pete's sakes? It's just ridiculous. Anyways, and she goes, happy 6th birthday to Archie. Thank you for all the love, prayers, and warm wishes for our sweet boy. He's 6. Where did the time go? Who is giving love, prayers, and well wishes and warm wishes? Who? Like, is she complimenting her Sussex stands here? I mean, I guess that is because, I mean, nobody really cares about your child, Meghan Markle. Like, the people who actually should care deeply and give you all the love, prayers, and warm wishes, you actively shut out of your life. So that's just false on the premise of it. That's false just simply on the basis of love, prayers, and warm wishes. What? Your fanatics online? That's not love, it's fanaticism. They're not praying, they're worshiping. I mean, I know that's what you prefer, but Charles might actually give love, give actual prayers and warm wishes, whereas your little minions, all it is slavish devotion. And she doesn't want any of that. And then she goes, and for all of you who came to celebrate with us at his party last weekend, thank you for making his birthday so incredibly special. Heart. You know what would have made his birthday incredibly special was attending his father's coronation 2 years ago. And again, who's celebrating with him at this party? Because it's not his family. He doesn't have any because they've actively made that so. They've actually cut out every member of his family. So he doesn't spend any time with his cousins. She's an only child. I mean, granted, she has maybe a member of the family or two from the Markle side she might be somewhat talking to, but we haven't heard anything from the niece anymore. So who's the family? None. They don't exist. Everybody who was at that party, I'm sure, is some sort of networking opportunity for his mother, because that's the same thing she did with her wedding, was to have a networking opportunity. So how much love can you give there when you're only inviting people for the connections that they can bring you? And when it comes to real connections, real people, real family, they're not there. You don't even invite them. You don't even care. You don't even consider. You're thanking random people on the internet who slavishly worship you rather than thanking and reaching out to Archie's actual family, people who can actually care for him. But that is Harry and Meghan. That is Harry and Meghan. They're heartless. They're cruel. They are trying to like dangle the kids, children, people's lives. Harry claimed to care about life. And then he's dangling the life of his children in front of his father, going, nah, 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 you can't see them. That's what the man's doing. It's ugly. It's horrible. They're horrible people for doing it, to be quite honest. There's nothing beneficial about that. It's awful. It's terrible. It's so many different things. But that is Harry and Meghan. And there was a headline from the Daily Mail that said when it came to the photo of Harry with his back to the camera, saying that it was just a giant FU to his family. And it was. But they can throw it right back by simply working. Now, they're not trying to purposely do that. But what we saw at VE Day was a family united. That despite the fact that I do think they need a younger member in the fold that is currently working royal, because I don't think we'll see George working until at least he's in his 20s. They are there together, united. They are happy. They are healthy. They are functional. They are having these warm interactions. I mean, it was so lovely to see Prince George really interacting with the veterans, especially he was really interested, I guess, in the U-boats and the ships and airplanes and stuff. Very interested in that. He's 11, so it's very sweet. He got to talk to the veterans. And I'm sure he was a bit overwhelmed and wasn't quite sure how to talk to somebody who's so removed from him generation-wise and everything. But you see a family united. And again, you look at the picture of Catherine, William, George, and Camilla. You see a family that, despite the hurts of the past, is able to reconcile and move on. And other people might still claim that Harry and Meghan, oh, they had to leave because things were so toxic or whatever. But what I see in the pictures and the videos and the images is a man who was cut off because he is the toxic one. They can't talk to him because he is the toxic one. He brings the toxicity. He lives in delusional paranoia. You can't reason with crazy. And so they have to cut him off. And as it turns out, I think what probably hurts Harry in some ways the most is that they've obviously just simply moved on with their life. Yes, they think about him. Yes, they wouldn't mind having a relationship with him. But when it comes to the future of the monarchy, it's secure. It's fine. You have the Waleses. You have 3 children. They'll have children. And Harry will just be bumped down the line and his line into obscurity because that's what happens with royalty. And Harry had the opportunity to make an impact because we've been told that he was sort of paranoid about being replaced by George. But Harry, there was nothing to replace. We are all individuals. We all have our own gifts. You could have had a gangbuster role in the monarchy. You see Princess Anne. For years, she has worked mostly at the engagements most royals don't want to go to. They're bare bones basic. They're just going to various villages and talking to farmers and those sorts of things and doing exhibition openings in like small community museums. But people love her for it. They're going to appreciate her for it. They don't appreciate a grown man throwing a tantrum. They don't appreciate a grown man being deliberately cruel to his father who has cancer and is continuing cancer treatments. Harry needs to be the bigger man here. And the royals are right to cut him off because he is the toxic one. He is the reason they are cutting him off. He is the reason everything is going wrong in his life. Whereas the royal family, they have their struggles, but they are united. They are strong. Are they perfect? No. But Harry looks so much worse whining from the outside when he could be helping from the inside. How great would it have been when 2 of the main members of the family were undergoing cancer treatments if Harry could have been out there as a member of the family helping and supporting. But no, he's selfish. He's unbelievably selfish and heartless. And we see this play out. And for Harry and Meghan, I don't think anybody will be super anxious to have them ever as working royals again or at any sort. I still don't know why a country even remotely pays for them to traipse around and do absolutely nothing and give them the bare bones basic of support. But I guess a fool is born every minute, and Harry and Meghan may attract the fools, but the monarchy is attracting the people, and the people love them. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this video, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Bye.